Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about hyperparathyroidism. So let's look into the introduction. So hyperparathyroidism is an increase in parathyroid hormone level in the body. Hyperparathyroidism is a disorder caused by oversecretion of parathyroid hormone by one or more of the four parathyroid glands. This disorder can disrupt calcium, phosphate, and bone metabolism. As you can look at the thyroid gland and the four yellow dots which are here, this 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 and this four small pea size are parathyroid glands. So it is an increased parathyroid hormone levels in the blood due to the overactivity of one or four parathyroid glands. Then we can see normal anatomy of parathyroid gland. The parathyroid glands are four pea-sized endocrine glands located in your neck, near or attached to the back of your thyroid. The parathyroid glands are located in the neck on the posterior surface of each lobe of the thyroid gland. Each of the four parathyroid glands is about the size of a grain of rice. As you can see here, the parathyroid glands of green color. Then look at the physiology of parathyroid gland. Physiology is a function. So look, what is the function of parathyroid gland? Endocrine glands secrete hormones necessary for the normal functioning of the body. Parathyroid hormones helps regulate the levels of calcium, vitamin D, and phosphorus in your bones and blood. Calcium regulation. As you can see, the parathyroid gland inhibition causes the increased calcium in the blood. Then the parathyroid gland activate and calcium reabsorption is occur, and vitamin D hydroxylation in kidneys occur. Then calcium absorption from intestine also occur. Thus the increased calcium get normal. Then look at the definition. Overproduction of parathyroid hormone resulting in abnormal calcium homeostasis is called as hyperparathyroidism. It is an overactivity of the parathyroid glands resulting in excess production of parathyroid hormones, as we have seen earlier. Then look at the causes. There are three main causes. Primary causes of parathyroid gland enlargement are increased parathyroid hormone secretion, most commonly caused by a single adenoma, but this may be a component of multiple endocrine neoplasia, which means that all four glands of parathyroid usually involved in the cause of hyperparathyroidism. Then look at the secondary causes. Hypocalcemia. Hypocalcemia. It is an producing abnormality outside the parathyroid causes excessive compensatory production of parathyroid hormones. It can cause by rickets, vitamin D deficiency, chronic renal failure, osteomalacia due to phenytoin, pregnancy, and lactation. Then look at the risk factors. Menopausal women's inherited disorder of endocrine, any radiation treatment, any drug used for treatment of bipolar disorder. So these can be risk factors for developing hyperparathyroidism. Then the types. Hyperparathyroidism is classified into three groups: primary hyperparathyroidism, secondary hyperparathyroidism, and tertiary hyperparathyroidism. So look at primary hyperparathyroidism. It develops when there is an imbalance between serum calcium levels and parathyroid hormone secretion. Up to 10% of these cases may be hereditary. Secondary hyperparathyroidism occurs when the glands have become enlarged due to the malfunction of another organ system. Causes of secondary hyperparathyroidism include severe deficiency in vitamin D, severe deficiency in calcium, and chronic renal failure. Then the tertiary hyperparathyroidism is seen in dialysis patients who have chronic secondary hyperparathyroidism, which means that if they have earlier secondary hyperparathyroidism development, and if they are in a dialysis, they can develop this tertiary hyperparathyroidism. Dialysis clients who suffer from chronic renal failure lack the ability to absorb and convert vitamin D into a form that can be used by the body. This decline in vitamin D decreases the amount of calcium that can be absorbed. So, let's look at the incidence, the prevalence of hyperparathyroidism in our country. Most prevalent in it is most prevalent in most postmenopausal women over the age of 60, and is most common in sixth decade of life, which means that commons commons in after 50 or after 60 years of age of a person. Incidence of hyperparathyroidism is about equal in men and women under the age of 50. Incidence increases with age and female gender. The incidence of primary hyperparathyroidism in the general population is about 4 per every 100,000 per populations per year. Most cases, 80% of hyperparathyroidism are discovered accidental during routine blood tests. So let's review the quick pathophysiology of hyperparathyroidism. So due to any etiological factors, the parathyroid hormones get increased, and the increased parathyroidism hormones increases the calcium absorption in GI, which develops hypercalcemia, and it can also develop the renal calculi, which is kidney stone. Then look at the clinical manifestations, the sign and symptoms from which you get to know about the hyperparathyroidism. So milder symptoms may include weakness, depression, and body aches. Severe symptoms can include appetite loss, constipation, vomiting, nausea, excessive thirst, increased urination, confusion, and kidney stones. Then the diagnostic evaluation of by which test you can identify the hyperparathyroidism. So first basic test is history collection and physical examination. Then blood serum. In blood serum you get to know the increased serum calcium and phosphates and decreased phosphorus. If it is there, then you can recognize it as a hyperparathyroidism. Then urine test shows increased calcium level in urine. Then bone x-ray shows doing DI toes demineralization of bone cyst, outer cortical bone absorption, and superosteal erosion of the phalanges and distal clavicles. So look at the diagnosis of hyperparathyroidism. Neck examination. By neck examination, the doctor or the physician can find out the hyperparathyroidism. Then as we have discussed earlier, the blood test, it shows the levels of thyroxine and TSH in the blood increased. Then the iodine thyroid scan, physical examination. Then look at the lab comparison of hyperparathyroidism. In primary hyperparathyroidism, the calcium get increased, the parathyroid hormones get increased or continuous. Then vitamin D get increased and phosphate get decreased. While in secondary hyperparathyroidism, the calcium get decreased or vice versa, and the parathyroid hormones get increased, vitamin D get decreased, and phosphate may increase or decrease. Then in tertiary hyperparathyroidism, calcium get increased and parathyroid hormones get double increased, and vitamin D get decreased and phosphate get increased. Then look at the complications of the hyperparathyroidism. The first complications are osteoporosis. Due to loss of calcium, it may result into weak, brittle bones that fractures easily. Then kidney stones. Due to excess calcium in blood, it may cause small hard deposit of calcium and other substances to form in kidney. Then treatment of hyperparathyroidism. So the treatment are primary cause management. We have to manage the sign and symptoms of the primary cause of the hyperparathyroidism. Then we should increase the fluids intake in the patient of hyperparathyroidism. We have to limit dietary intake of calcium and promoting sodium and calcium excretion through diuresis in the patient. Administer drug calcimimetics that mimics the calcium circulating in blood that leads to release less parathyroid hormone, and treat hyperparathyroidism caused by CKD or parathyroid cancer. Then the oral sodium or potassium phosphate calcitonin through IV, mithramycin or biphosphonate can maintain the hyperparathyroidism symptoms. Then IV magnesium and phosphate or sodium orthophosphate solution orally or retention enema can also helpful in the treatment of hyperparathyroidism. Then surgical management, surgical removal for adenoma of the parathyroid gland. So be if the medical management and non-pharmacological manage unable to treat the hyperparathyroidism, the last option is surgical management, in which we remove the parathyroid gland. Then the complications of parathyroidectomy, which is the removal of parathyroid gland, the bleeding can be less than 1%, infection less than 1% or more than 1%. Hypocalcemia may develop, most of you did it right. Supplemental calcium plus vitamin D, calcitorial IV calcium for severe symptoms may recommended. Permanent hypoparathyroidism may develop, failure recurrence may develop. Then the nursing management. So what can be the nursing management? The nursing diagnosis: calcium level less than body requirements related to inadequate calcium diet or intake, as evidenced by crackling sound from bones of patient and few more. Then the nursing intervention. So what do we have to do? First, we have to obtain baseline serum potassium, calcium, phosphate and magnesium levels before treatment. Then observe patient for signs of pain and monitor for effectiveness of analgesics and comfort measures. Then the prevention. For preventing the hyperparathyroidism, we can include eating a healthy and well balanced natural diet in our daily routine. Then avoiding coffee, tea, alcohol, tobacco and carbonated beverages. Exercising regularly and drinking plenty of water may help. Avoid calcium raising drugs like certain medications, including some diuretics, and lithium can increase calcium level. Drink 6 to 8 glasses of water daily to lessen the risk of kidney stones. Thank you. If you have any doubt, you can ask your doubts in the comment section below.